All right, we are on and live. So let
All
me see if
right.
I can get us both in the screen. There you go. We are here. Hey, welcome everybody. We are so excited to be in our part 4 of communicating during scary times. And my name is Tracy Pike, and I have Bill Sturley here, who many of you know and love. And we're going to be talking about this interactive support that we've been doing through this COVID-19 situation and the conversations that we've been having. This week, we're going to have an enlivening discussion and have some fun with this because we're talking about being in action while in isolation. And in the communication that we sent out to you, we showed you a picture of people in front of their refrigerators because, as I told Bill recently, that a lot of the social media memes have been, oh my gosh, I've gained so much weight since I've been in isolation. So we're going to be talking about things about getting progress and developing focus, being in action and having some open-mindedness to things and rewiring some old habit patterns. So with that, I am going to pass this off to Bill, and hey, let's have some fun tonight, okay?
All
So
right, Tracy. Well, thanks for the introduction. It's been a lot of fun putting these things together, as well as providing people support about how to communicate both with the people that are around us, the people on the outside, and as well as with ourselves and dealing with our own emotions and our upsets and things like that. And to be in action while we're in isolation, to have positive and practical things to do. Like this is how do you create internal motivation when you're condensed, you're pushed inside, and you got to stay inside yourself. And then the outside messages have to do with a lot of negativity. So one of the things I like to do is I like to bring bad news early and do scary honesty first, so that I can get my limbic part of the brain, the back part of my brain that gets scared really easily, to start having a relationship with the front part of my brain that is saying, yeah, that looks bad, but is it really that dangerous at the moment for me at this very moment? So I want the logical and the future oriented brain, which is in the front, to have a better discussion with the elephant brain in the back. So the first thing to do is to take a look and go into a place of observation and then put things into perspective. That's what I like to do first. So with tonight, in order for us to get into positive action, we've got to do the scary honesty first to kind of get it out of the way. When we first started these webinars a month ago, here's what the coronavirus numbers were. On 3/18, when we did it the first
share your
time,
screen. Yep.
I got to share my screen. Thank
Yeah,
you
you
for
got to
the.
share your screen.
I
You're welcome.
almost forgot. So we want to know what the beginning part is, which is here's what it was a month ago: 200,000, 217,000. Okay, when the places were closed, 90% recovered and 10% didn't make it. Now today, regrettably, we're at 2 million instead of 200,000 in a month's time. Now, these are worldwide numbers, yet US is right there with the other countries in the numbers. We're catching the detections earlier, but the recovery is not as good. We were a month ago, the number here was 90% and it was 10%. So we do feel scared and worried and anxious about our need for safety and our need for protection. But the added thing that's on top of it is I want to meet the need for protection for others. I want to meet the need for safety for others. And that's why people have all their face mask stuff right now. And even if you're not going to see anybody on a walk, just by you wearing the face mask, you're saying, I am considering you and you are considering me. It is a community building mindset to say, wear the face mask. Now, if I'm going to take this on and doing scary honesty, it's, well, I'm sure hoping that a month from now that this number isn't 4 million. Does that make sense to everybody? So we want to do I want to use the protection and the distance that I need. So one way to do it is to start the process of creating a healthy stay at home mindset. Meet the need for consideration and don't get caught in the refrigerator, literally, like I am noticing myself going back and forth to the refrigerator just to get some kind of comfort and or movement. Well, this evening is about an enlivening discussion to focus on creating some passionate, practical things that you can say and do to rewire your habit pattern. How can we get your habit pattern to change? So Tracy, go ahead and talk to us about rewiring and changing our habit pattern. She's got her mask.
This is my mask.
Is that a smile on the front of it?
Yeah, it's like a little cat face.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm going to unshare so everybody can see it. So I'm going to unshare. I'm going to unshare so everybody can see.
Okay, hang on. Let me maximize myself here.
That is so cute. That is so fun.
So this is my mask that I go out in, and I got my entire family these things back in February when I heard that the coronavirus was going on. And so my kids have ones with teeth and different things like this, but we had to rewire because my kids, like my youngest, is always touching his face and doing all of this. And so they were traveling on an airplane. And so we had to rewire our, habits. And when we go out, we basically just put these in our pockets and, we go to the grocery store, what have you. My kids know, they just stick the mask on and, we do that. So when we're interacting with people now, that's how we're doing it here in Georgia. So I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, that's a good one because, and I've also noticed, I've seen some face masks that people have drawn a smiley face on it so that there is a kind of like an upturn, sort of like I'm smiling. I'm
lips.
okay over here.
I've seen people put big lips on them and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Lydia says that, by the way, Adams is making a great washable, comfortable, cheap face mask made from neoprene.
There you go. There we go. So good. So thank you for that link. That's an awesome thing. Now, tonight, our community of creative brainstormers, that's you, will rewrite the various different curses and spells cast by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, curses and spells are a very important thing to get a hold of. The curses and spells are belief and belief patterns that hold us into place. Now, belief patterns tend to handcuff us to do things, so they impulsively do things, like impulsively go to, get the croissant that is sitting there, or the bananas, or the burrito, or whatever the thing is in the refrigerator. We're going just to look. So we want to keep an open mind about tonight. We want to get some progress. We want to talk about how do you cultivate and have focus about things, as well as some forward thinking and being in action. We know that basically we're going to be around or be through this experience for a good solid month right now, a good solid month from now until May 15th. And the reason why I'm calling it a good solid month is until the rate of the numbers start dropping, we're still going to be kind of in this space for about a month. So we need to really ask ourselves, let's not fight our habit patterns. Let's rewrite our habit patterns. Let's not complain about our habit patterns. Let's just, rewrite the habit pattern. And the habit pattern is going to be one that is going to be more engaging, the habit pattern. Now,
I just want to break in because I saw an article, and you might find this funny, you might find this sad, but I saw an article and I posted it on Facebook about these cannibal rats that have shown up in New York, Seattle, and Louisiana, and that these rats, because everybody is sheltered in place, they're not leaving food on the sidewalks and outside. And so the rats are coming out in midday because they can't find any food, and they're starting to eat each other because we've rewired our habits. Now their habits of picking up after us, they don't have anything to eat. And I thought it was a perfect example of, you're talking about rewiring habits. Well, what has happened now? All of the pest control people know where these rats are, and they're going after them to get them cleaned up and get them out of the cities. And I just thought it was like, what? This is crazy. I mean, it's crazy.
Hungry rats, they've got to change their patterns and stuff. And it's that's a toughie. That is really, really tough. A great example. By the way, the rat is a very limbic creature. It's very habitual. It develops a pattern. It stays in an area, and all of a sudden their food source is gone. A great example. Great example. Yeah. So we are tricky. Human beings are a little tricky because what winds up happening with us is that we can talk ourselves out of things, and we can rationalize the good reason why to eat the next croissant. We can, step into the space of that. So it really leads us to ask ourselves the next question, which is, how do we support each other to move beyond the feelings of worried, confused, anxious, nervous, and scared, rather than just put ourselves in a place where the refrigerator is available to eat, to satisfy our emotions. So now the question is that I have for all of you is, what is some supportive thing that you have done for yourself to deal with or to face worried, confused, anxiousness, nervousness, and scared? So let's go ahead and get in the game here a little bit and type some things out. How are you managing your emotions? How are you currently doing it? And or if it's a tragic strategy, feel to type that in so we can all agree and give you some support that you're not in it alone. Because, a lot of times we think the thing that we're going to say is really embarrassing. The answer is no, there's 10 other people that have done the same thing. And there's 3 other people on this call that have done the same thing in our, immediate sphere of friends. So think about that. And what are some things that are you're doing to do that are, activating, the and managing? How are you managing those kinds of things? So Tracy, do you have some to get us started about some ways that you're managing?
Well, I've been living this lifestyle for a while. I'm kind of unusual because I work from home and I homeschool my kids and have been doing that for 10 years. So I know from my past that there have been things that I have done that are extremely embarrassing because I didn't know how to take the need that my child was having and express my frustration in that moment. So I can't tell you how many times I've thrown a workbook or something over the side of the loft and down to the first floor from being on the second floor because I got so frustrated and I couldn't say I'm feeling disappointed or torn because we're not working together or my need for progress isn't being met. All of those things. I mean, I've done it. I do see that Amy has she's eating outside here in the mountains to get the sun and air and going for a scenic drive.
Awesome.
Jennifer's saying talking to friends and driving down the coast to see nature.
Yeah.
How are you coping? I mean, I bring up a negative thing because how did I cope? And now how do I cope now? I'm thinking it's so different the way that I cope now than I used to cope. Because I've learned what you're talking to me about. You know what I mean?
I think when you and I started working together, I guess about a year or so ago, that you were in the middle of rewriting a lot of things regarding your need for health and well-being and dealing with all the different challenges. So this has all been a warm up for you to be in this to this experience, right?
Well, some people who do know me from, I've known you 7 or 8 years. Some people who've just even known me for a year or two know that I've lost about 51 pounds. I've
Right.
had to rewire because my, whatever you call it in the brain, my brain was saying, you need help, and something needs to change. And so I'm going to give you something. I'm going to throw hives all over your face, and you're going to have to figure it out.
You better figure out how to get rid of these on your own, because
That's right.
that's a good one. So Amy, I really appreciate you putting the Beach Boys music up, because I didn't think about it, but just getting music that is uplifting and fun and light and those kinds of things to get them moving, to get our body moving. And I saw a wonderful story of this couple that this guy was looking out his balcony, and he's in New York, and he was looking down on this rooftop, and this young woman was dancing on this rooftop, and he videotaped her, right? He was videotaping her dancing, and he thought, I'm locked up, she's locked up. Gosh, she kind of looks cute down there, you know? And so he yelled over at her, and he had videotaped her, and he posted on here, where like this. But then he said, hold on a second, let me send you a note. He got his drone out and wrote a note with his phone number on it, and flew it down to her, and she got his phone number, and then they started texting back, and then they had a virtual dinner first date where she was on one roof and he was on the other roof, and they were both FaceTiming and then yelling at each other and then FaceTiming and chatting up. Oh my God, it was the funniest. They really such a fun story of connection. And they said, well, one of these days we'll get a real date, to show up. And he's a freelance photographer, so all his work is gone. She worked at I can't remember, she worked at some place, but her work was gone, and there they were, just having dinner and chatting and using virtual connection with each other. And so that was a lot of fun.
Bill, tonight, just on Facebook, I was cruising through there, and I have a friend who's a son of a famous guitarist out of Journey, the band, and he is just a lovely young man. He's probably getting close to 30 or around 30, and he basically offered, because he usually gives guitar lessons to students, and he does teaching and stuff like that, and he says, hey guys, hit me up for a virtual lesson. And I'm like, ping my husband, he'll do a virtual lesson with you or online, because people are starting to rewire and going, how can I use my skills and give to people, when normally they would go, no, we've got to do it in person or something. And he actually is started going the route of, okay, well, how can we do this, because I can't do it in person, right? So that's a way to rewire.
Right. Absolutely. And Amy, you put another one up about your bike. I haven't gotten that wind trainer on the stationary bike thing, because I usually, like, a few nights ago, about, I don't know, like 11 o'clock or something, when no one was out, I took a long bike ride, because nobody's on the street, and I have my mask on, but I did this long bike ride. But I just having a home bike trainer where I can hop on it would be a really good addition, and I can order that and it'll deliver.
What is
here.
that? Is that something that picks the bike up and you can ride?
Yeah. It sits on it picks the back wheel up, and it puts resistance on the back wheel, and you get up and ride the bike. And then there's different things you can have, ones that have a fan that blows wind at you, and it's a fun little thing. And then of course there's ones that you can have the TV, but I'd have to look at that one to figure that one out. But
so the way this works is, right, when these replays, which, speaking of which, as we go through our conversation tonight, we are premiering our replays of this on Facebook, on Bill's corporate culture Facebook page, and I'm going to put a link in here for you. Tomorrow night we've got part 2. replaying. So if you guys want to share this with some of your friends, you can do that. But because we're talking about this wind trainer, maybe somebody will send you one of those wind trainers for your bicycle.
It's awesome, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
Anyways.
crazy. But getting productive things to take place, we know that there's, a danger out there, and there's some scary stuff, and there's an economic piece to it, and all that kind of stuff. We know that the two conversations that we need to really remind ourselves of is the conversation about money, or is this the conversation about health and physical safety? So this little chart I have found very, very helpful in creating a sense and an experience of calm when I'm making decisions, brainstorming about things. So, like, for example, if I put in the center place virtual vacation, because if you think about it, none of us are on vacation. We're stuck in our house, but we're not on vacation. When's the next time someone is going to take a vacation? What do you do with vacation time that people would normally take it during the summer? Is everybody going to take their vacation in November and December this year? Is that even possible in our economic situation to take everybody to take for businesses to operate? Hey, boss, I'm taking my vacation this year in October, November, December when things clean up. Well, everybody's going to be looking for their vacation in October, because no one's vacation in June. No one's doing a vacation in June. I mean, come on, let's do some scary honesty here. So, it's like, if we're sitting here April 16, right? And May 16 comes around, and there is a glimmer of things are getting back to normal. Our limbic brain is already going like, no, I don't think so, because we've already rewired the habit of staying at home. It's sort of like, no, I'll take a pass. Do I really want to go to a movie theater? Do I really want to go to a restaurant? I mean, the way Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, was describing it was this, and I swear I thought he just described an experience I don't want to have. And the experience was, we might open up by the 15th, but for restaurants and other places, we've got to get used to the new normal, which is your waiter might have a face mask on. There's going to be disposable menus. I'm going like, just to go sit in their place, I'm going to wear a face mask, and then I'm going to take it off to eat between bites. and I mean, isn't it? I mean, it's funny, but it's also, that's the reality. So even May 15th, so that's at least pushing it out another month before any restaurants come back online, because we're going to take your temperature before you come in the restaurant to sit in a public. I'm going like,
why would I do that? It's stressful, right? It's stressful. I remember I went out and my kids brought me food because I had to go over to my house to oversee this water disaster issue that I had. And they brought me food and stuff. So we sat out on the back patio picnic table and we took our masks off because there was nobody out there. It's just us. But I remember having the drink, and I went back in the house and I'm sticking my straw underneath the mask, this lovely little mask. So I've got a straw under my mask drinking my tea. I know.
It's crazy. It is so crazy, isn't it? So crazy.
Yep.
So whatever we're looking on, if we're asking the 4 questions, or actually on this one, it's the 6th question of when and where I'm going to do this thing, we are able to get our mind to be more collaborative and cooperate with itself to come up with the answer. So if I have virtual vacation in here, well, what would that look like? Well, a virtual vacation, why don't I just order stuff in for a Hawaiian party, and it's here are all the things that happen in Hawaii. It's do it yourself. And why don't I, take a look at, I want to go to the Eiffel Tower. Well, then it's the French theme, and I'm going to hang a French flag up. It's still your print pictures of all the places I would have liked to have visited if I had went to France. Now, this is very creative to try to think of it, and many people can stretch their imaginations in order to do it. But also, we've got to remember we've got to cultivate a stronger relationship between the back part of our brain that's really scared and anxious and nervous about money or health stuff, and the front part of our brain says, wait a minute, it's not happening here. It's there's not a COVID thing happening here in this house, but how can I take an action, create an experience for myself that has a meaningful reality to the current circumstances, and then watch what takes place. Does that make some sense, Tracy?
Yep.
Now, what else could we put in the center of this circle? Where would you like to go, and what would you like to do, and what can we put and brainstorm is what is the thing that you'd like to see differently? And even though you're in a place of sheltered or in a place of financial constraints, what are some things that you would like to see and or experience in the world?
So for me, while people are writing what they would like to see, just this last week, I miss family, right? I had my ex-husband's family contact my kids, and they've got like 25 or 26 people in their family, and they wanted to get together on Zoom and have happy hour. So at 8 o'clock our time, 5 o'clock theirs, they all got together on Zoom and did this. What are you doing there? You got something showing on the screen.
I didn't know it was going to move over. I was trying to get you more in the center of my screen. So.
Oh, okay. But in any case, what happened was they had a full Zoom screen of everybody, and they were talking and laughing and drinking. And what they did was they had everybody in the gallery view, and they took a screenshot of the screen to use as their Christmas card this next year, because usually they start planning for Christmas. They get everybody together. So they did it virtually.
They did it virtually. Awesome.
Yep.
That is really a lot of fun. That is really a lot of fun. So sticking an idea into the center space, it's, how can we, everything from, the happy hour to the family plannings, and let's see what else. Use Jackbox to play
games virtually.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Right. Me and my boys did games the other night, and sitting around the table, and people are breaking out the Uno and breaking out the various different board games and taking those out for a spin a little bit. So it's been fun. It's been quite a experience. But asking the 4 questions allows your brain to not get stuck. Why am I doing this? Well, it's a process of creativity. And who am I going to be there? Well, it's a process of connection. How's it going to work? Well, pick a date, pick a time, and invite some people to do the thing you want to do with them virtually. And what is the thing going to be? What is the thing that's going to be something that would be really engaging, and make that valuable, as a part of a valuable experience.
It's interesting when you're bringing this up, because, I scan through and see a lot of people do things on social media. And my aunt the other day, she's got a Stamping Up, the company where they do like cards and things like that, where they have dies and they cut the paper and all that.
Yeah.
She normally has women over at her house doing this stuff for sessions to learn how. She's doing it virtually. She's picked up Zoom. She's figured out how to do it just recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, how am I going to do it? She called me. Um, how do you get this set up? Because this is what I want to do. She had a vision for, why she wanted to do it and who was she going to invite. And so all of these questions, she went through this process to basically get people online and doing this thing.
It's interesting. We are in charge of our mind, and even though we're in a place that's a stuck place, we do have the ability to pursue our needs. So review this list, and this list of needs, whether it's the personal needs, the business or work needs that you might have, and or the family needs that you might have. So pick 3 words or 3 needs that is most activated by in your experience. Some people are more activated by maybe trust or stability or protection. What what needs are the ones that really activate or are the ones that are maybe more sensitive to you? And there's many more needs that could be up here, but I just started with this simple pandemic, how the pandemic is affecting our emotions. And so, Tracy, what do you got? What do you got for me?
Well, for me, stability and physical safety are really important to me.
Right. Big one.
And as I will attest to when I'm driving with my husband and he decides to go on into his yellow adventure and
Oh,
doesn't communicate to me that he's going to do this, and then he goes and he gets himself lost and he starts going, oh, that didn't work out, and he turned around. So and then he all of a sudden he's going, oh, well, I'll find it. I said, do you need some help? No, no, no. And then for 10 minutes he's driving around trying to find out where he went, and now I'm starting to get anxious because I'm thinking we were going home, and now there's no stability. So it's things like that.
yeah. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's that's the activation. The activation is, I don't have the predictability or the stability or the safety I want, and I need clarity about where we're going here. So
Right.
some people are typing in some things
Yes, they
here.
are. Uh-huh.
Oh yes, yeah, Lydia, the truth
Alex.
trust, Alex, yeah, and look at the truth, trust, honesty piece and the predictability, trust, understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um,
Sarah says contribution, financial
financial
stability, and ease.
needs, right, right. Um, as our different parts or different jobs that we've done in the past aren't being used. Why? Because our community is saying, nope, too dangerous, can't do it. So then all of a sudden it's like, how can I rub nickels together? And that can make a big difference. Mm. And reassurance, I think Jennifer just put up, is
Yep.
about just to be able to talk to somebody and let them know, and we're a part of them giving us reassurance that we're all going to get through this together, that there's not a waterfall at the end of this, of the rapids that we're going down, because this is definitely a little bit of rapids there, but we do need good guides, and our guides are actually our needs. It steers the ship of our emotions. So we steer the ship saying, okay, what kind of financial security do I need, and where can I get it, and who can I ask it? What does certainty look like? Well, certainty is a little wiggly. So what are the certainties I get? Well, I can stay inside. I can do mask. I can exercise here. I can put yoga on the TV. I've got some choices about how I can meet my needs, and then therefore it creates internal advocacy. I can advocate for myself. I don't have to let the outside world dictate it. I can ask others, how can I meet this need? And would you be willing to process this with me? And then, then it can tend to go better. Okay. This little nifty little chart is one that you might have seen last time or maybe the time before, is how do you catch the emotions of worried or scared or even panic. You catch them earlier and get them out of your head. As one of my clients said, Bill, I woke up at 3 in the morning. You woke up 3 in the morning. Why? Well, I was ruminating with some thoughts. Ooh, that didn't go so well for you. He goes, no, I didn't. What can I do about that? So now I can take this chart and then fill in what those 3 needs are. So all of you that have written down your 3 needs, you actually can put them in the yellow area right now and
So
say,
Amy said stability, certainty, and clarity.
oh, great question. So now, Amy, we're going to pursue one of your needs right now. It's your need for stability. So we stick that in the first box underneath the yellow. It's like, okay, I need stability. What emotion comes up with that? Or maybe you have a thought that might come up about that. So what would one of those 2 things is? Either the emotion where you don't have stability, or the thought that you're not getting stability. So each of us can weigh in on stability because each of us are working on stability from a different perspective. How could that be? Because we're just different people and we're in different situations. Okay. By making decisions. So that's one way to create certainty. So certainty would be, okay, I'm going to make decisions. So the reactivity or the request is make decisions to get something done. On the other side of it, not having certainty is, well, I'm not sure what's going to take place in June 15, Bill, but here's what certainty I can get today. Now, here's the tricky thing about certainty, as well as some of our other needs. You really only can get them one moment at a time. Like, life only happens in this next moment. Of course, that just has led to this next moment. So this sequestering, this sheltering ourselves has actually brought us back into what need are you going to get in the next moment? Because most of the time people say, I can't believe what happened. Where did that last week go? Where did the last month go? Now it's, oh my gosh, I am so busy. What happened to the day? Because they've been responsive, not intentional.
Right.
So
they're reacting, right?
They're reacting. So their day's gone. What happened to my day? Well, I reacted to my kids. I reacted to a text. I am trying to figure something out, but a whole damn day's on. Well, they're reacting instead of being intentional. It's like, what would I like this creative experience to be like? What is really meaningful to me? What is really going to make a big difference? We're actually being forced into ask better question. Do I really need to buy that thing on Amazon? Really? And the answer usually is no, you really don't need it at all, because it only has a limited value to it.
It seems to me, Bill, that there's a sense of like the way that we have been previous to this isolation is that we've been forced into certain structures that we didn't have to really think about. And that's one of the biggest things I've seen, because I've been working from home for 15 years and homeschooling the kids, is structure has been so important. And basically you're giving boxes for these different feelings, these needs and different things that allow you to go, okay, how am I going to proceed through my day, right?
Right.
And normally people who like work outside the home or have an office or they have basketball games to be at or football games or different things, meeting with the tax preparer, etc. There are certain structures set up that they go
Right.
from one box to the next box to the next box, right?
Right, right. That's right. There's certain structures that are already kind of set up for you, and all you got to do is like show. And how many of us have went to a movie and said, the movie was good. Well, the experience was so-so. It's like you just missed the whole thing. Everything, the wonder of having it all set up for you just to go to see this and have this experience. That how did that show up, right?
Right.
So again, we do have some challenges because if we're not intentional, then a lot of times gratitude actually disappears very quickly because we just went and did this thing and we really didn't put any very much meaning into it, right? So, Amy, as I see that you wrote down, stability is being created by, and that would be the thing that went into the green box. Morning routine, X number of time here. This is what I'm doing here. So that's the request or the intention about what I'd like to see. The feeling is relieved or delighted or relaxed because your need for stability has been met. So all of us human beings are really linked together by which need that we're pursuing and which one we're going to get met next. And who are we going to meet that need with? And it'll take some time, and it'll be and have some ease to it that, this is how I'm going to get my need for connection met, or my need for comfort or support. This is how I'm pursuing that need. So this little chart box allows you to say, well, this is the thought I'm having, and this is the need that gets activated, and here's the feeling that I experience here, and this is the way I would like it to go better. This is my intention of getting it to go forward. So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, peaceful is the feeling, stability is the need, and the request is setting my schedule up. The way it was during the first month is I was responsive and reactive. I responded to various different thoughts. Now I'm choosing to meet the need for stability over here with the action. This can be done with everything from children to work life to a creative process, and just taking them one thing at a time and really enrich our experience as human beings, and then start to enjoy when we feel frustrated and irritated. I know it's like a funny thing to say, but Bill, you feel enjoy the process of frustration. No, while I'm having the frustration and irritation is not necessarily the enjoyment until I find the need that it's pointing to. And when I find the need it's pointing to, I just say 15 minutes. Why? Because now I know what I'm working on. I am working on the second column. I'm looking at what that's going to look like, and my emotions track right with it. Even when somebody else is freaking out, I learn to enjoy them freaking out. Why do I enjoy them freaking out? Not because
you're hitting me right on the nose here, Bill, because you've told me. I mean, I'm a high yellow, red, green person, right? But I'm a red connector. So when I would see you getting frustrated, like when we would work together, it wasn't because of me, but because of some other situation, I would start to take on your pain because that's what I wanted. That's how I knew how to connect. And you're
right.
going, don't take on my pain. Why are you saying you're sorry? This isn't about you. This is me. This is right. And oh my God, my life got so much better when I realized that I didn't have to take on your pain. It was amazing.
It's already my pain. And why should you exchange your life energy for something I'm suffering with? The answer is no, I don't think it's a really good use of your time. I don't think it's a use of your time at all. It's because now you can reflect it because you care about me, but you do not have to carry it. You just push it right back. Bill, are you irritated about something? And I go, yeah, there's something in my head right now. I have something in my head. It has nothing to do with you. And yes,
Right.
thank you very much for pointing that out. You know, I have 15 things in my head. I have a lot of different things that I'm working on with different clients at different times, with different situations, personal and professional. It's all coming at me and it's in my head and it shows up as this irritation. If I let it
Or
get to,
breathing, like putting your hands on your face or things like this. If it things that normally we would go take on, like, oh my God, what did we do? How did this, and the way that you have set this up, and like Rick says, it's so different from how we have been, you
so
know,
different,
so different.
so different. We do not have to carry other people's pain. It doesn't mean that we can't connect to it and feel deep sadness about a loss that they're experiencing, or offer a moment of contribution or support to hear the story. But that's as far as it needs to go most of the time. Like almost 85% of somebody else's upset has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
And
pull your screen up, unshare your screen so they can see you.
okay, sure.
Okay.
About 80%, 85% of someone else's upset has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with us. It's unsettling, but it's that big. Maybe 15%, maybe. Sometimes it's only 5%. We're just the person that's triggering. Or for parents, you're the safest person for them to vent on. So when my kids are bringing me pain, I'm going like, well, I'm the safest person they can bring it to. Bring it on. What is it? What's causing your pain? I will provide a solid reflection for you. I'm not going to carry it. I'll be careful not to start problem solving too soon. Although my problem solving brain is, I want to help. I want to help. And the answer is stop it. I'm preventing their ability to, unless I want them to live with me at 35 or 40 years old in my basement. That's not a good strategy. I want them to be independent. So that means they've got to carry their own pain. They've got to process their own pain. They have to do this, because otherwise, 35
They look
years
like the hamster wheel going
round
around, and
around
the
and
second hamster
you,
jumping on and flipping around and falling all over the place, right?
that's right. That's right. It's like, I want them to have that next level of self-sufficiency. I want them to be in the process of independence. And one of the best ways to do that is for them to own their own feelings and their own needs, that they know the relationship between these two pieces. And then things will tend to go better. Then what happens is that we can start looking at a needs list from a place of what's going to enrich and expand us, not something that's going to drive us into an emotional hole and have us sit down and not do anything for ourselves. So one way to approach that is with this next chart. It is get a hold of the top 7 words on this list and start working it. Now, how do I get the top 7 of these things? I want all these things, you might say. And the answer is, you're right. You get the opportunity to have all of these things. Not necessarily all in the same moment, though. When it makes some sense that people are struggling with their need for freedom and independence at this moment, as we are meeting the need for consideration and protection for others. Just let your brain gently be okay with that, because your brain doesn't want it as much. I want freedom and choice any way I want to. I want independence any way I want to. But it's at the expense of protection for yourself and protection and consideration for others. So there was a march on the State House in Michigan that I was watching recently. I was going like, yeah, I hear how you would like the need for freedom and the need for independence and the need for choice and and you're really advocating for it. And one woman said, I can't get my hair done. I'm going like, yeah, I can see how you're looking for that one. But don't you think you need some protection for yourself and some consideration for the other people in your community? Don't you think that you don't want that level of suffering to go around? But that person's not in touch with those needs. They're going like, yeah, I'm throwing those needs under the bus. It's like those suckers are coming around to get you. If you're not doing it, because it can affect somebody in your downline. It can, this is the strategy. The strategy is a very, very good strategy. And on my Facebook page just today, I just found a wonderful video to go, okay, here's what the common cold does. Here's what the Zika virus did. And here's what COVID did. And it showed the multiplication rates of all of those different things. And I was going like, we've got to go for consideration. We've got to go for protection. We can't just wing this, like the common cold. And the common cold has one of the factors that's taken out of the equation, which is many people have had a good number of cold virus strains, and they have immunity. They have immunity. So they are sheltering because their body is not letting it in to spread it to anybody else. So the virus has to work. Now, in 3 years or 5 years, COVID will be in the same category. It won't. There was a COVID outbreak. Great. Where? Well, in this community. They got on it, isolation, respirations. One person died. 300 people got it. And then the rest of the community or city or neighborhood didn't. So we've got to really, this chart is a perception shift. It's a perspective expansion to say, we don't necessarily get all of our needs met all at the same time. There's a advocacy inside our body to get more needs met. And when we're at our best, or we're not as much under pressure, we tend to carry a great deal of happiness when many of our needs met. And I'm going to say this to everybody, try not to fall off your seat. Why are children so happy? Is because most of their needs are being met by their parents. Because they don't have to worry about financial security. Parents, check. They don't have to worry about protection. Parents, check. There's problems with certain needs with certain families, but yeah, kids are kind of happy because most of their needs are getting met most of the times.
Interesting perspective there, Bill. Really interesting perspective. It's so true.
And we're pissed at them because they're not working hard enough or they're not studying hard enough. They're going like, why are you so bent out of shape? I'm doing great on my sons. I'm playing great on my computer games. I'm going like, oh my God, they don't know there's a train coming. And the answer is they're going like, I don't see a train. I don't have any idea trains. I have my freedom. I have my choices. I can do this. I have this. You're paying for stuff.
I just had this conversation with my 17-year-old today because he actually had the awareness, that red part, the awareness.
Right.
He realized, he says, who am I? And this is him talking out loud. I didn't start this conversation. He just started it out of the blue. He says,
started blurting it.
Yeah, he said, who am I to be complaining about the fact that I have these two things to do when you guys are working like rock solid every day? All I see you doing is nose to the grindstone. He says, who am I to be doing that and complaining about this? Because his awareness is starting to come about because he's starting to see.
Starting to see it. See, it really locks in between age 22 and 25. They snap around and go like, as my 26-year-old said, Dad, Man, my best year was when I was a junior in high school. I go, yeah, yeah, it kind of was. She goes, I want to go back there. I'm sorry, there is no way back. There's no way back to that position. Yeah, yeah. I guess you had the best time you could back then. God, I would have taken advantage of it more. I would have been more joyous and more supportive and so, you know. But at 26, she's going like, she's got to carry her own this, that, and the other thing, right? So very, very helpful, very, very, very solid, very, very helpful, and creates a lot of movement around things. So,
We've got about 5 minutes left. So I know you're getting
oh,
some good stuff now. So
yeah, we're actually landing in a really good spot here. So the truth is, the first thing is try not to stare at the projection. Yes, it's true that we're in our house, but it's not the truth that we're stuck there. Yes, it's true that there's a virus outside, but it's not the truth that we can't get protection for ourselves. It's a truth that, yeah, we might not have as many nickels to rub together, but the truth is what are the essentials that we are needing to pay for right now, and how can we make requests of ourselves and requests of others for the support to get to the next day, the next week, the next month in. And if there is a food shortage of some type, there are people right now in service driving around free food. And the truth is, ask, get your need for support and community met. Ask, get your need for space or distance from financial bills. I heard the other day, and feel free to follow this up, you can call the insurance company and say to them, I am not driving my car. I haven't driven my car for the last month. I will not be driving my car. I am sheltering. They will send you a check. Two people have already
no
told me.
way.
Two
Really?
people have told me they have gotten a check from their car insurance people. That is when you're staring at the truth, not the true perspective is the true. It's true. You got car insurance bill. That is a truth. But the truth is it depends on the insurance company, might not be global truth, but it's a perspective from two people. I haven't called myself yet. So I'm still looking to pursue that to meet my need for financial security, called I'll be happy to start with you in 2 months from now. And it's okay if my car sits in the driveway because I ain't going anywhere anyways. And I take my mask and my backpack and I go to the grocery store and pick up the few things I need and I ride my bike back. I'm good. I don't need to drive my car. I get my need for transportation met. That's the truth. With my bicycle, I meet my need for protection with the thing. I meet my need for
Exercise, you get
exercise.
healthy.
I'm getting more needs met anyways by not driving.
Rick calls this, he says, perspective expansion is a great term.
It's a great term. It's a great term. So you're all on my email list, and Tracy, I think that you can send them a link to my 30 minutes if they want to get a call. Anybody wants to get a call in. I
Okay.
think I've given that in the past, and so if anybody wants to work out a issue or a challenge or a way to keep your brain into this perspective and perception, feel free to get on my calendar so you can get some support. And then things will tend to go better. Just had 2 calls like that today where perceptions and perspective shifts, and you got to concentrate on the cylinder and not concentrate on the don't concentrate on the projection, because the projection will drive you nuts. It just does. So
Right.
anyways, okay, so let's do some celebrations. What's one thing that you've gotten out of today that made a difference? You know, um, yeah, look at that. Terry just got on and said she got that AAA sending her a check. Didn't even have to ask.
Yep.
Ah, thank you for the validation. How fun's that? So what's some celebration items? So what's something that I said or did that made a difference? What are some things? Let's celebrate.
All right. Let's yeah, there you go. Unshare your screen. That's good. So there may be a little delay in the thing with people typing in, but
Sure.
celebrating, I have found that by doing these webcasts with you, I have found myself using the phraseology to describe my feelings and my needs in a way that's coming out more naturally, where
Right.
before I was thinking about it so hard, like, what is he trying to say? Well, how am I, I was doing that whole analytical, what's he doing? But now I'm finding that it's becoming a pattern. And
Right.
so that's something that's come out of this for me. I mean, we've been with people with you for a long time, but getting to
Yeah.
do this all
Doing
the
it right.
time, we're creating a community of empathetic people that are using language in an empathetic way.
Right. Right. And the weird thing, I'm going to say this, it almost sounds so weird, is that your head is matching your body now. Your When you're frustrated, that's what you are, because that's what your body's telling you. Your vocabulary is matching. You're not just walking around a head on a stick, so because this is the way we're taught to think, problem solve, problem solve, problem solve,
And not
and
listen to what our
and
bodies are
not
saying.
listen. Our body's telling us what's going on. And many of us have had this experience. We walk down the street and we feel something uncomfortable. All of a sudden we step aside and this car swoops by. We knew it. It was showing up there, you know, and that's the thing to get a hold of is just a little bit of tennis match and practicing things. Let's see, what is Jennifer
Yeah,
wrote something
they've got some
helpful.
great things here.
Oh, good. So read some of them out loud because I'm squinting.
Jennifer says, was helpful to look at the things that I'm doing to cope that serve me versus just beating myself up for the things I shouldn't be doing.
Right. Look at the things and augmenting the things you're doing that are coping, or let me just do it, Jennifer. It's just you're just being honest with what you're doing. Oh, I'm at a refrigerator. Oh, I'm meeting my need for comfort. What am I doing? Oh, that cupcake. Yeah, I just ate the cupcake to meet my need for comfort. Not the strongest health choice, but at least I got my need for comfort met. Hey, maybe I'll give myself a little bit of a break because I have been, things. So get comfort. I'm going to go for comfort walking outside now. It's and just stating it's such a funny thing. State what is, and then connect it to yourself. Just state what is. If we do this with our kids, it's like the best. State what they're saying and what's going on with them. Let them do the work. So you're kind of feeling frustrated and math's not working well for you, is it? No. So you haven't got to the learning on math quite yet. No. So you need a little skill there. Yeah. It's like, yeeks. It's they're going, oh, thanks, Dad. I didn't do a damn thing. I didn't, I just opened them up to focus on learning. Don't focus on the struggle.
Right.
Focus
Right.
on the need. Focus on the need. Don't focus on the emotion.
Right. Don't get on that hamster wheel.
Don't get
Stay
on.
emotionally sober. So Amy says, I like the two phrases. The limbic brain is a habitual creature and rewrite my habit patterns.
Yep. So you're asking this to re-language this. You're saying this language center, let's get a better future. Let me meet my need over here. And I want to observe and set my intention over here and make those two things match. And then you ask the emotional part and the habit part of your brain to start working with it.
Right. Alexandra said, I like what Bill said about changing our mindset to create a healthier environment for ourselves.
Yeah, this is the environment, and yeah, there's I could paint this wall, or yeah, I can create this experience, and then just choose to say, that might be a really good moment to do, and it's like, well, I'm changing my environment. I'm gently moving forward. So yeah.
Right. Rick says listening to Bill's like taking a cold shower.
Thank you so much for that. That's a good one, Rick.
He says wake up time. Wake
Wake
up
up
time.
time. It's wake up time. It's concentrating on the projection of the truth, like the truth slide I had up before. The projection is always going to be there. It's called our point of view, but the cylinder is still the same. It's am I working on my version of financial security, or the real version of what financial security looks like? Because there's a big difference between financial security and financial affluence.
Right.
There's like a big difference between those two terms and concepts. And it's like, well, am I creating this angst around financial security where really it's an angst about financial affluence, and I'm chasing some car down the street like a dog barking at it? It's like, what is he going to do when he gets it? And many people don't know when they're rich, what am I going to do when I'm getting it? I've made it. Now what? You know, I,
Yeah.
I wish, gosh, Jerry Rice said this one, the football player. Yeah, I guess I could have enjoyed playing a little bit more. Yeah, I was one of the greatest wide receivers ever. And there was times I didn't enjoy the game because I was so focused on the win, the outcome. And that helped me in the process, but I didn't smell the roses along the way. It's like, it's, some good truth telling is, even the greatest have trouble with this concept.
That's right. That's right. Sarah says, I love the worksheet, the second to last, and I hope I can get a copy.
Oh, sure.
Is that the one with the different needs that you can work through?
Yes, and I'll be glad to send that out. Yep. Yeah, that's the ones that
Yeah,
you
get
work
on our
through.
Facebook page. Go like our Facebook page, and we'll post it up there, and we can
Right.
stick it up there, and share it with people, because Bill, we desire a community of empathetic communicators,
Right.
because that's how we're going to change
That's how we're going to
people
change.
and the dynamics of relationships. So
Yeah, I agree. All right, so look for our next emails, join our posts, and
we're going to take a break next week, right?
we'll
So
take a break next week, and we're going to set up
a new link.
set up a new link, and go from there. Okay, everybody.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We've really enjoyed the last 4 weeks, and stay safe. Do what you need to do to become more empathetic in your communication and create a wonderful atmosphere while you're sheltering in place there. Thanks, Bill, so much for your experience and joyfulness.
It's good fun. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye.